Hello, this is part one of how to make a Kumihimo buttonhole loop. You can use either a button that just has 2 holes or 4, this style, or you can use a button that has the shank on it. If you use the button that just has the either 2 holes or 4 holes in it, you do need to braid at least I say 16 times without beads before you start adding them, and that gives basically it kind of puts a shank on the button so that the buttonhole loop will have something to grab hold of. You know, you don't want it to be so tight underneath the button that you know, you have to end up making your buttonhole loop be too big. So a 16 is good. It gives you enough of a little distance down. I'm hoping you could see that. It's kind of dark. But anyway, 16 is good. And then load your strands as normal, braid them in, and then when you're finished with your braid, you want to braid long enough to be able to make your loop. So here I've done it long enough. What you can do is either use a piece of rat tail to measure around your button and then add a ½ an inch to that measurement because we are going to make this covered section. So I've already done this one. I've done the bead. What you can do is tie a knot in your threads and still leave them on the board just in case you know, didn't judge correctly, and then just kind of pull it down so that you can manipulate it underneath and, you know, hold it and test to see that your button is going to fit through. Like this one looks like it will fit fine. So since I did do it right, I'm just going to pull the rest of it off and then start showing you how to thread it. And I don't have my needles here, so I will be back. Okay, I'm back with my needle. So you do need a darning needle. It's a pretty heavy-duty needle, nice and long, nice and strong, and it has a decent sized eye so you can thread your sealon through. And you also do need a pair of pliers to help you pull the cord. So what we're going to do is start by taking one of the 8 cords, thread your needle, and then take your loop, kind of bring it together, and then stick the needle through the center of the core near the beads. And if you have trouble pulling it through, use your pliers. And then once you have it pulled through, usually on the first one I will pull it through a couple of times just to make sure that the loop is secure, and then take the cord and snake it through the center of your beads and make sure the needle is not coming out in the middle of a seed bead because you will crack it. So just take your cord and just pull it through, and after you get it pulled through, just give it a tug and snip it, and it should kind of disappear into the core. And then you want to repeat that with the remaining cords, and leave, if you're doing a 2-color braid, you want to leave 2 colors out. If it's just a single braid or single color, you only need to leave 1 cord as the last one. So again, we're going to take this cord and we're going to pierce it through the whole thing. Now what I usually do is I use the table. Of course you don't want to use the table if you have a nice wooden table, but mine is tile topped, so I don't have to worry about it. But anyway, you could just kind of push down on your needle and then use your pliers to pull it through. I'm hoping that I'm keeping this in the view of the camera. And same thing, just wiggle it through and then take your cord and send it up through the middle, exiting not through a bead. Pull it tight and cut the cord. Make sure you don't cut the cords that are actually holding your beads in, because that will not be good. Okay, I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to do a few more so that I can save the length of the camera, and I'll leave one out to show you how to finish up. Okay, so I'm back. I have 3 cords left to do, and I'm just going to say that once you finish doing, you know, a few cords, you don't really need to stick the needle through going crosswise. You can just thread them down through the center because that you did enough crossbars, you know, that it's going to hold it snug. So I'll just show you the. Again, just push it through. Again, I use the table and make sure that the needle, the tip of the needle is not coming through a bead, and continue to snake it through. And again, cut your cord. In case anyone is wondering while they're watching this video what colors I've used on this one, it's a mixture of different luster beads. I have a gray and green and a cream and a yellow and a blue, all kind of intermingled in, just giving it a kind of a all over thing. And I just did 1 cord of each color. So there was 8 colors altogether. Okay, so I'm just going to take this last cord and once you get a few cords going through the center of your braid, it gets tighter and tighter, so that's where you really have to, you know, like I said, either use your table to push the needle through and then use your pliers to pull it the rest of the way. And then trim nice and close. And now I have the last cord. And the last cord, what you'll do is, if you have 2 different colors, you just can wrap the 2 of them together so it makes a stripe pattern. But since this is just a single color gray, you just need to just wrap it around 4 or 5 times. And before you finish it, make sure that your button does go through. And if it doesn't, you want to adjust that amount of wrap that you did. But in this case, it did go through, so I will finish it off. So after you wrap around, you want to thread your needle again. And what I normally do is you can either just go straight down through if you're gonna want to put some glue on it, but if you want to do it glue free, then I would go through both cords again, and again push your needle down, pull it through, and then take the other end and now go through the part that you wrapped. Okay, and then take the last one and thread it through like you did the others. And that, my dears, is how you make a buttonhole loop. And give it a good snug tug and snip your last cord. And I didn't get it all. Okay. And there you have your loop with your button. And see how on here I do have a little bit of the braid with no beads, and that's so that this will kind of go underneath the button and not so the buttonhole loop itself is, instead of resting on the beads, it's resting on that little bit of a shank that you made. And there you go. There's your braid with a button. This button is a Swarovski crystal button, which is very, very pretty. And like I said, it goes very nicely. And hope you enjoy it. There is a part 2, which will tell you how to make the loop on a chunky style, which you can't do it the same exact way because the points from the magatama make the center of the core hard to thread the needle through. So you do have to go through it doing it zigzag style instead of the straight through method. But it's a very neat way to do it, and it also is metal free. So if you have people who are allergic to metals, it's a good way to finish a bracelet because there is no metal touching your skin. So that's it. Thank you very much.